This the calm before the storm? What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to the Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, April the 27th, as the year is flying by. And the question is it all quiet on the Western Front or in the Western ports? Is this the calm before the storm as we await the potential tariff deals? I think the first question we have to ask ourselves is, are tariffs that big a deal? Okay. Now, again, if the economy is so strong as they would like you to believe, I mean, we've been going through this for years, then the tariff should not be an issue. Okay. If we're seeing a strong economy, which again, if you look at certain things, it says we're strong. Now we've seen some turbulence in the markets. We are now watching markets that are not liquid, which we'll talk about in our market commentary. But overall, again, I'm a fan of tariffs. I believe they should be put in. I do want to see the United States of America go back to being the boss, being in charge. I'm not into the globalism. I'm not into the bullshit that's being sold. I mean, it's just going to be a who blinks first. Again, there's a lot of things to unpack here, but I think the biggest American menace is the liberals that are calling upon Europeans to ignore or to resist the United States. Now, what kind of politicians, what kind of people would go to other countries to have them resist your own country? Doesn't that say to you that there is an agenda somewhere behind there? Okay, this is what I don't think that you understand, is that there's an agenda being sold out there, which is not to the benefit of those who want to actually work and those who want to actually take care of business. And I think that we've become far too soft and given away far too many perks and entitlements. And of course, we get into what's going on with Social Security right now and the scam of there, which I'll talk more about in our commentary. But Social Security is not an entitlement. Social Security is a loan that you make every year of your life to the government, hoping to get paid back your money that you put away. Had you had taken that same amount of money and put it into an IRA, you would have a hell of a lot more money without a hell of a lot less concern and not being worried if Social Security was going to go bust. But we'll talk about that more later because of what I think of Medicare and everything else. But again, if the economy is so strong, why are there so many issues? Now, I don't think the economy is that strong. I told you here before Trump got elected, and I told you after the election that there's going to be some pain, and I think the pain has only just begun. Again, I don't put any stock, pardon the pun, into this rally we've just seen. I think it was natural. And if you listen to this show, if you listen to the daily update, I told you every day, look for the rip your face off dead cat bounce rally, and we saw it. Okay. But the problem here is we're dealing with a bunch of cartels, a bunch of central banking systems, and we'll call it the art of currency war. All they really managed to do is hike inflation and devalue your currency wherever you're from. Okay. They're all going down in percentage in relationship to what they're worth. And that is the idea of getting into globalism, is to destroy the fiat currency system, which is why you have the Treasury of the Secretary or Secretary of Treasury of Bessent trying to get the dollar to have some backing, because this is what happens when you allow these central banks to run control. And that's the Federal Reserve and the central banks across the globe. They're in cahoots. They are cartels. They are stealing your money. Okay. That is where the inflation comes from, because of the value of the currency. Okay. Again, is this the Wile E. Coyote recession? When you look at it, it's like we're in suspended animation as we are falling off the cliff right now. And I look at, I don't think that it's any surprise. We've seen this movie many times before. Okay. I can go back to 87, 01, 08, and now. But you're like, the markets want to crash. They're in position to crash. And then somebody comes and holds them up. But again, there is no doubt that we will see a pretty major meltdown. Again, I still stand by, which I guess it's going on about 18 months, that I said there's going to be a 40 to 60% haircut. I still believe that to be the case. And I think it's coming now sooner rather than later, because I think right now in suspended animation, as Wile E. Coyote's getting ready to fall off the cliff. And again, I guess who's going to blink first in these tariff wars? Well, I don't think Trump is going to blink, and I don't believe the United States is going to blink. And again, I'm all for the tariffs. I think that tariffs can only actually benefit us in the long run, bringing back better jobs to this country. And certainly, I am tired of watching the outflow of our dollars, because we have to subsidize many of our manufacturers that are out there. So I see a lot of problem with that, and I think that you look at Germany, they downgrade their growth outlook again, and they're going into their third year of recession, which I think we are as well. But again, who's going to call? Well, nobody here will call a recession. Of course, they're blaming Trump. Now, again, Trump wasn't president when they went into recession, but they want to blame Trump, which is the common theme, is whatever goes wrong, something goes wrong with your day-to-day, blame Trump. That's the way that people want to do it. So, hey, whatever. Are global consumers turning away from U.S. goods? Well, if they are, they're stupid. Okay. Again, this is a battle that they're not going to win. This is a battle that is a joke. This is a battle that should be easily solved. But of course, everybody wants their deal. And of course, every country's politicians wants their cut. And I think that's more what it comes down to. Okay. However, now you're watching in LA, they're going to lay off the mass layoffs of workers because of their $1 billion deficit. And I think you have to ask yourself a question. Okay. There is a lot of issues in a lot of states in this country. Why is it that all the states that are in trouble, California, New York, Illinois, Connecticut, okay, are all blue states? And again, I'm purple. Okay, I believe in fiscally conservative, and do whatever you want to do at home, do your own thing. I don't care. But why is it that the highest tax states are always in trouble and wanting more tax dollars from you? Okay, just again, I'm not telling you what to think, who to be, but why is that? Does that make sense? Okay. And are you happy with what Elon Musk and Doge are doing? I mean, I am. I think it's great. Okay. Again, I think that they should cut down spending. I think that we're spending way too much on way too little. Okay. And I think that obviously, that I believe that the people in Washington, the swamp, steals a lot of our money, okay, to help pay off and finance a lot of these bad deals that we're involved in. But in the meantime, there is rumor going around that there's being a database created by Doge to track illegals. And what is wrong with that? Okay. Why is it that you people that battle and fight against deporting illegals and all these other things, and don't want to cut federal spending, you want to continue to spend money that you don't have, when you don't realize that you're paying for it by yourself? I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me that people want to keep giving away money that they don't have to help fund a government that doesn't work because there's too much expense. The government was never meant to be the biggest employer in the world. That's just simply the bottom line. And this is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, April the 28th, and we're going to stop by have a break, and we'll be back with our market update right after the break. Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday. What's up, kids? Well, of course, we've got some sponsors here, and of course, always like to share with you, and they're mostly brokerage partners. But again, I gave you those who I believe can help you. And listen, I have many brokers, but if you would like to check some of these out, I think it's well worth your checkout. There is no obligation. You don't have to do anything. I think you should just check them out. And of course, TRADIER Brokerage is one. I mean, it's $10 a month. It saves me personally $100,000 a year in commission. Okay. Plus the fact that we can automate a lot of our stuff through TRADIER at no cost to you. So certainly, I think it's something to check out. And of course, everything we talk about is either on the website on the side or the bottom, their website addresses. Capital Trading Group, who's partners with us in a lot of programs for futures and commodities. ITM Trading for your gold and silver needs. Physical, I've been buying from them for over 20 years. And of course, our good friend Danielle Cambone does a lot of stuff for them. One of our brand new sponsors, Joy of Mom, which I'm real excited about, teaching financial literacy to moms and other things. A great website, great business, great friend of mine. And of course, SpookyExpress.com for those of you who like to dabble in maybe betting on the NFL draft, which is now over. But again, maybe you want to check it out. And of course, our high school program, which we try to introduce financial literacy. And now let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line with me, Todd Bubba Horwitz, right now. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, April the 28th. Actually, I think it's April the 27th, but I'm close. In the meantime, markets had a big up week last week, and it is no surprise whatsoever. Okay, we were actually long for the week. So again, I tell you again, it's no surprise. And again, I'm not bragging that we were long. Listen, we took a lot of pain. But I think that this is a very natural bounce after a major meltdown. From a market theory standpoint, again, forget about my opinion. Market theory, the bears live below the 200-day moving average, the bulls live above. Okay. Right now, all four major indices are well below the 200-day moving average, which means that you could have another 3, 4, 5% rally in the S&P and still be in negative territory. And if anything, first of all, I expect the selling to begin sooner rather than later. But it would not surprise me if we got another burst of a rally. But this is not the end. These are going to rally, in my opinion. These are going to rally right into resistance, which is the 200-day moving average, which, for example, right now in the S&P is 57.90. And they're going to fail. And I'm going to be selling. Okay. And I may be wrong, but I'm going to be a seller. Okay. That I can promise you. That is what I'm looking for, to get out of our longs and flip in. And of course, the Dow could go to, I mean, obviously go anywhere, but it could go just over 42,000. So again, there's 3-4% that I look in the markets overall. The picture is very simple. Okay. We have an illiquid market right now. Okay. You've got high volatility. You've got no volume. Okay. That's not a good mix. It makes it hard to get in and out. You end up a lot in the Roach Motel. Okay. It's not a market for those who want to be active. For those of you who are investors, you shouldn't be doing anything. You shouldn't even be looking, okay? Because it doesn't matter. If you're an investor, you should be staying in the market, okay? If you're a hedger, you've seen the benefit of our hedging program. But again, if you're a pure investor, you should not be looking at your iPhone every day at what's going on in the markets. It really doesn't matter, okay? Because again, although I'm very bearish at the moment, I do believe that 10 years from now, these markets will be an average of 8.5% year over year higher. And that's what you have to start to look at. In the meantime, as I said, we are long the four major indices. Okay, and still long. And they were up huge last week, which is fine. Okay, the dollar continues to crumble. Now, we don't trade the dollar, and not because we don't like the dollar. We don't trade the dollar because you get ripped off trading it through New York. So why pay their shitty fees when I can trade the opposite, the euro currency at the Chicago Merc for a tenth of the cost? In the meantime, we would be long dollars. We are short the euro currency. Okay, bonds and notes had a little bit of a pop, but again, if they're cutting rates, and they've already cut rates, why do 10 years continue to go higher? That's because interest rates are going higher. Make no mistake, the Fed ain't cutting here. If they cut, it is a disaster. It will cause much bigger problems if the Fed cuts rates here. Trump has to back off the Fed because he's wrong. This is not a time to be cutting rates. This is a time to let the free markets trade themselves. We are short the bonds and notes. Bitcoin finally broke out. As we've been talking about, we talked about 85,000, both sides of it. Now it's 95,000. We are still long Bitcoin. Gold has been lower. Again, it's still up near its highs. Okay, we're still short. Listen, it's very extended. I expect gold to have a pretty precipitous drop. Again, I'm not bearish gold. I'm just looking for another spot to buy it. But from a trading standpoint, there's going to be a pullback. We're long silver. Silver's back over 33 bucks. Platinum, we don't trade, but if we did, we'd be short it. We're long copper. We're long corn. We're short the other grains. I'm personally short cattle. I'm flat hogs. I sold my longs. We're long natural gas, and we're flat crude oil. I think the bigger picture and the bigger thing to understand here is that the rally you saw is known as a dead cat bounce. It is known as a short covering rally. You watch this week, you got jobs, you got other things coming out. Just be careful. I'm not telling you to go out and get short. I'm just telling you to be careful. There's something big going to happen, and I believe it will be lower. And I will obviously do as the update. I'll tell you exactly what our positions are every day. In the meantime, this is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, April the 27th, not the 28th, April the 27th. We're going to stop out here for our final break and come back with our commentary right after the break. Bubba's Bottom Line. Well, kids, again, I'm just going to give you the our sponsors. Again, I'm not going to go through the whole speech. TRADIER Brokerage, Capital Trading Group, ITM Trading, Joy of Mom, SpookyExpress.com, and of course, our high school program website scrolling on the side and the bottom, or bottom and side. And now let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line with my commentary right here on Sunday, April 27th. Let's get back to it now. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line, top Bubba Horwitz. It is Sunday, April the 27th. And of course, I got to tell you, okay, now obviously I am of the Medicare age. I am of Social Security age, and the scam that is being run through Medicare, okay, the scam that we see. First of all, we have a Social Security system that retirement age is ridiculous, 66 and a half or 65, stupid. Okay, but besides that, now, you know, when you turn 65 or whatever, 65 and a half, you have to file for Medicare. Okay. And of course, you get supplements, do all these other things. But now you go for Medicare, so they make you come to the doctor more. Okay. You have to go for your checkups, especially depending on your medications you're taking. And all they're doing is stealing money. They don't even talk to you anymore. You don't get doctors anymore. They sit there in their fucking computers, clacking in. Okay. They don't even look at you. They don't check you. They don't check your heart. I mean, to me, that is the biggest scam. And every time I go, okay, and I'm forced to go to keep my Medicare active, okay, I go, all they're doing is stealing money, okay? Why is it that we can't straighten out the program and get back to real doctors that actually do something, that actually listen and talk to you? And we're all so concerned about everything, but as we're so concerned about costs and everything else, these offices are like factories that are churning out a patient every 10 minutes. They're whacking them on costs. And not that we don't pay, which is even worse, because now it falls back to the American taxpayer, okay, which I am one of. But again, it falls back when the system is so corrupt, okay? How are we going to get away from this corrupt Medicare system and Social Security, because the government has stolen so much of the Social Security that they're going to run out of money because they run it backwards. And I'm hoping that with all the layoffs and everything, they'll take care of it. But again, my real question comes back to is, how do we allow this to happen, where you force people to go to the doctor, or you got people that just want to go to the doctor because they got nothing else to do when there's nothing wrong with them? Yeah, because it's free. You know, people say to me all the time, well, you get Medicare, it's free. Well, it's really not free. It's funded by the taxpayer, okay? I have no problem with going to the doctor, but if we gave better care of our people to begin with, then we wouldn't have to run these little chop shop factories to continue to steal money from the Medicare system. I don't know about you, but it certainly pisses the shit out of me. And to all of you, have a great weekend. This is Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, April 27th. Thanks so much for being a part of the show. We'll see you back here next week from Chicago as I go visit for my mom's 96th birthday. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you later. Bubba's Bottom Line.